Hello students and welcome back to your social science class. Hope you all are doing well at home. You all are studying. You all are going through the videos on a daily basis, is it? Okay, so we were doing geography chapter number 5 in which we were discussing composition and structure of the atmosphere. And this will be my video number 3. Now, if we recall our previous two videos, in video number 1, we have already discussed what is atmosphere. We have a detailed discussion on atmosphere. In video number 2, we discussed about the composition of the atmosphere. And today, in video number 3, we are going to discuss about the structure of the atmosphere. Atmosphere, you all know what is atmosphere? Atmosphere, it is a blanket of air which surrounds the earth. Now our atmosphere, it can be divided into different layers based on its temperature. Those layers are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. Now I'll be showing you one diagram in which I will be giving you a brief information about all these layers, and then we will be discussing these layers in detail. So this is a diagram that I was talking about. Here you can see how they have made different layers one above other. You can first see troposphere. Then it is just above troposphere we'll see stratosphere. Just above stratosphere we will see mesosphere. Then above mesosphere we can see thermosphere, and the last one which merges into space, that is exosphere. Now these all layers, they have their own importance. Talking about troposphere, all the weather phenomena, all the weather related activities that they take place in troposphere. Stratosphere, you know, the jet planes that fly at high altitude, they all fly in the lower part of the stratosphere. Not only this, stratosphere, it also has ozonosphere. It is also known as ozonosphere because it has concentration of ozone. Then we have mesosphere. The meteors which come from outer space, they burn up in mesosphere. After mesosphere, you can see thermosphere, which reflects low frequency radio waves back to Earth. And at last we have exosphere, which merges into outer space. So this was the brief introduction about all these three layers. I will be now explaining you all these layers one by one. Coming to the troposphere first. The troposphere, it is the lowest layer and it is also closest to Earth's atmosphere. If we talk about the height, if we talk about the extent of troposphere, its height is about 8 km near the poles and it is about 18 km over the equator. Then there is one more important thing to know about troposphere is the normal lapse rate. Now what is normal lapse rate? See what happened, the environmental temperature decreases with increasing height of atmosphere. Okay, so as you are going above, or as the atmosphere, the height of atmosphere is increasing, the temperature decreases, and it decreases at the rate of 1 degree Celsius per 165 meter of ascent. That is called normal lapse rate. Did you understood what did I tell you normal lapse rate? I am telling you once again. In normal lapse rate, the environmental temperature, it decreases with increasing height of atmosphere. Now how much it decreases? It decreases 1 degree Celsius per 165 meter of ascent. This is called normal lapse rate. Clear? Then I told you that here in the weather phenomenon activities take place. Not only this, water vapor, dust particles, they are also found in this layer. Now what type of weather phenomena activities I am talking about? Like formation of clouds, thunder, lightning, precipitation. I mean all that you can imagine as a part of weather formation. All those activities, they take place in troposphere. This layer is important because it protects us from the excessive heat of the sun. Okay. It protects from the excessive heat of the sun, and it also keeps the earth's surface warm during night. Then it has about 90% of the air in the atmosphere. Then in troposphere, there is one thing which is known as tropopause. What is tropopause? The tropopause, it is the boundary in the Earth's atmosphere between the troposphere and stratosphere. I told you, if you recall, if you go back to the diagram, you can see this diagram in which I have shown you different layers of atmosphere. So the boundary between troposphere and stratosphere, that is known as tropopause. Clear about troposphere? What did we understand in troposphere? First of all, it is the lowest layer. It is closest to Earth's atmosphere. All the weather phenomena activities takes place here. Then there is something called normal lapse rate, in which the temperature decreases with increasing height of atmosphere. Not only this layer protects us from the excessive heat of the sun. Clear? Now we'll move to the next layer, that is called stratosphere. Now, where is stratosphere? In that diagram, just see, stratosphere, it comes just above the troposphere. This is the next layer. What is its height? It is about 50 km above the mean sea level. All the weather phenomena activities that takes place in troposphere. So this layer is almost free from all types of weather phenomena. But there is little bit of dust and little water vapor in stratosphere. Then in the starting, I have already told you that the jet planes, they fly at the lower part of the stratosphere. Okay. And if we talk about the temperature in stratosphere, the temperature, it is constant up to 20 km. It does not change. Neither it increases nor it decreases. Till where? Till 20 km. But after that, it increases with increasing altitude. Altitude, you know, height. Okay. So up to 20 km, temperature remains constant. But afterwards, with increasing height, it also increases. Now, the lower part of the stratosphere, if we talk about the lower part of stratosphere, it has concentration of ozone, and that lower part of stratosphere, it is also known as ozonosphere. What is ozonosphere? That's correct. The lower part of stratosphere is ozonosphere. It is a layer in the stratosphere that contains a concentration of ozone. It's sufficient to block ultraviolet radiation from the sun. So it is very important to protect us on Earth from those ultraviolet radiation. The lower part of stratosphere, there is ozonosphere. It is called ozonosphere because it protects us from the ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Clear? So you all are clear about troposphere and stratosphere. If we talk about the difference of temperature in troposphere and stratosphere, what will you write? If I ask you what is the difference in troposphere and stratosphere in terms of the temperature? So in troposphere we will write, in troposphere the temperature decreases with increasing height of atmosphere. Okay. And if we talk about stratosphere, the temperature remains constant up to a height of about 20 km, but then it increases with increasing altitude. I hope you all are clear with these two layers. I have explained you very well, troposphere and stratosphere. Next, we will see about mesosphere. Now, going back again to the diagram, I'll show you something. See, here you saw troposphere. Just above troposphere, we have stratosphere. And just above stratosphere, we have mesosphere. Right? So, what is the height about mesosphere? It is about 50 km to 80 km above the mean sea level. Now, if we talk about the temperature of mesosphere, here the temperature decreases with height. Okay, as you will be going up, the temperature will be decreasing and it can reach up to minus 100 degrees Celsius at a height of 80 km. That is why it is the coldest layer of the atmosphere. Can you imagine minus 100 degrees Celsius? There is one more thing about mesosphere. The meteors which are coming from the outer space, they burn up in this layer. What are meteors? You have studied meteors, all these things in class 6, right? Meteors are also known as shooting stars. Now there is one interesting question that comes to my mind, that why the meteors burn up in the mesosphere? What could be the possible reason for that? I'll tell you the reason why those meteors, they burn up in mesosphere. See what happened? Meteors, they will travel through the exosphere and thermosphere, right, without much trouble, due to the lack of air in those layers. Those layers don't have that much of air, so they can travel very easily. But when they hit the middle A layer, or when we say when they hit the mesosphere, there are enough gases to cause friction and create heat to burn up in the mesosphere. That is why they burn here. You got my point? Meteors, you know what are meteors? They are the shooting stars. Now when they are coming from the outer space, they are traveling from exosphere, they are traveling from thermosphere, they can easily travel. Why they can easily travel? Because of the lack of air in those layers. But when they come to mesosphere, there are enough gases which cause friction and which creates heat, and then it burns up in the mesosphere. Clear? That is why meteors burn up in this layer. Clear about mesosphere now? Now we'll move to the next layer, which is thermosphere. Now thermosphere, it comes above mesosphere, which extends from 80 kilometer to 400 kilometer above the mean sea level. Just ignore, I have written 100 here, it is 400 kilometer, okay? It extends about 80 kilometer to 400 kilometer above the mean sea level. In this layer, temperature increase with increase in height. Okay, the temperature is increasing with the increasing in height. What was the condition of temperature in mesosphere? It was decreasing with height, and it can reach about minus 100 degrees Celsius at the height of 80 kilometer. Here it is increasing with height and it reaches more than 1500 degrees Celsius. The lower part of the thermosphere, it is called ionosphere. Now why is ionosphere important, and why is it called ionosphere? Because it has ionized molecules. Now what are ionized molecules? I think you all have done it in science. The ones which are electrically charged. And ionosphere is important because it reflects and modifies radio waves used for communication and navigation. Therefore, it is important. Clear? I'll tell you once again about, I was telling you about ionosphere. If you all have not understood, listen to me once again. See, the lower part of thermosphere is called ionosphere. As I told you in stratosphere, the lower part is known as ozonosphere because it contains the concentration of ozone which protects us from the ultraviolet radiations. Now, the lower part of thermosphere, it is known as ionosphere because it has ionized molecules. And why this ionosphere is important? Because it reflects and modifies radio waves used for communication and navigation. Here, now we come to a last layer, which is exosphere. It is the uppermost layer where the density of air is very low. There we can find very light gases like hydrogen is there, helium is there. Here also temperature, it increases with height and it can reach about 4500 degrees Celsius. You know, scientists, they consider exosphere part of our planet only, our planet atmosphere. But since it gradually merges into the outer space, there is no clear upper boundary of this layer. We have studied about different boundaries of different layers, like, but here the exosphere, it is merging with the outer space. So there is no clear upper boundary of this layer. With this, we are done with our structure of the atmosphere. I will be giving you a short assignment based on today's video. But before that, let us just have a quick recap of what all we have done today. We'll go at the starting. Okay, this we have already done. Here we studied about different layers. I told you there are different layers of the atmosphere: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. Troposphere we have done, where I told you that the weather phenomena activities takes place in troposphere, and it is very important because it protects us from the excessive heat of the sun. After that, we studied about stratosphere, in which I told you the jet planes, they fly at the lower part of stratosphere, and the lower part of stratosphere, it has concentration of ozone, because that ozonosphere, that concentration of ozone, it absorbs the ultraviolet radiation from the sun. After stratosphere, we move to mesosphere, where I told you one important point, that the meteors which come from the outer space, they burn up in the mesosphere. And why do they burn up in the mesosphere? Reason I have already told you. Then we discussed about thermosphere, in which I told you about ionosphere, which is the lower part of the thermosphere, and I told you why is ionosphere important. After that, we move to exosphere, which is the uppermost layer. Since we don't know the upper boundary of this layer, because it gradually merges into outer space. Okay, so this was all about the layers of the atmosphere. Hope you all understood that. I'll give you a short assignment now. This will be assignment number 3. Please write down the questions. Question number 1. Name the different layers of the atmosphere in the order they appear. That is, you have to go in a series, which is the first layer which is closest to the Earth's surface, second, third, fourth, fifth. This way, in an order, you have to write only the names. Okay. Question number 2. What is normal lapse rate? When we were discussing about troposphere, I have already explained you what is normal lapse rate. Question number 3. What is ozonosphere? Ozonosphere also I have explained you in the part of stratosphere. So I hope you will be able to do all these questions. I will be meeting again with you with our last topic left of this chapter, that is significance of the atmosphere. Please go through this video once again, do complete the assignment and take good care of yourself. Thank you. Bye bye.